not put up those things, he has to be a medical doctor. The prosthesis that we use, it has to be done by a medical doctor. So we all don't have to be in clinical practice. There are various aspects, even in surgery, that she can go into. The plastic surgery is also there, that she can also go into. So I see a student that can conveniently multitask, right? Can conveniently, from what you have said, can conveniently multitask. So there should be no limitation. We also have a former student of OOU who is into catering. She has a very big center in Ikoyi, and what she does are special food for hypertension, for diabetes, for congenital disorders, for inherited disorders, and so on. She's a medical doctor, but she has been able to carve a niche for herself in that area. Nobody else will go into such areas. But she also had a master's in public health, and she focused on nutrition. And what she's doing now is she's selling. Then we also have medical doctors. If you go to Lagos, you find them all over selling clothes. And the beauty of it is that because of the nature of medicine, no matter where they find themselves, they excel. Incidentally, that has been my own experience. Because the culture of discipline, empathy, passion, Fumi had mentioned the issue of commitment, and discipline and diligence. All these ones are all parts of medicine. So that I always tell students, you don't also all have to be a pediatrician or obstetricians gone are those days. You can go into any area that you want to go into. And of course, we also have medical practitioners who are pastors. And they are doing very well. Eneche is a medical doctor, And then the first set of Pentecostal Christians in Lagos, I've forgotten his name now, he went to Youth. The set of people, they are the same set as Larry Adineko, Dr. Larry Adineko of Christ Chapel of Victory, right? The same group. Dr. Adineko is not a medical doctor, he's a PhD. But he has friends, who are also in there. And you see that because of that culture of discipline, empathy, comportment, and all that, they can bring that into it. So she should be able to do it. If she were my daughter, I would encourage her to go ahead and do it. And I know that by the time she gets into part 2, she will now decide which area of surgery that she wants to go into. And it may not be that she will be cutting. She may not even cut. She might go on and develop equipment that they're going to use for surgery, that only a surgeon will be able to do it. Thank you.
Okay. So I think Mommy has answered, which is, can it work together? Yes, it can. We're in a generation or an era where you don't even need, and thank God you used Vicky James. You don't need to be physically available. You don't need to be physically available. She has the crafts. There are people that are willing to learn. And like I said earlier on, there are times we give things for free. Someone wants to learn, and the person, you've seen this person. You know when someone is ready to work. This person is showing that he wants to work, but does not have money to learn. I'll teach you for free, but we'll sign an agreement. You work for me for so years. I've tied you down. I've exchanged your money with my skill. Please, will you not work? You will work. I've exchanged my money. You don't have money. May I have the skill? Don't worry, I'll teach you for free. But the problem we have now, we don't want to give out our skills. We don't give out our knowledge because we feel like someone can easily grab it from you. But the truth is, you have to teach for you to be able to grow. I am here now. My store is running. I have people working. I can decide to travel. I have people working. Same way Vicky James. You know how many months she was out of the country? She was out of the country for months till she gave birth. And were we not seeing results? We saw Simi's wedding clothes. We saw a lot of results that she made. And it didn't look like she was not available. So imagine if she didn't put a level of excellence in her staff. They won't understand. So yes, she can. All she needs to do is, stature-wise, age-wise, anything doesn't matter. This is what you want to do. Draft it out. rent a house, get people to do the work for you. You are the one, you are the head kilongbe. Me, I don't like that title. head, head designer. You are the head designer. Design the styles. Teach them how to do it. Whether you are there or you are not there. You are the one receiving the alerts. They are the ones doing. They just have to do the work. So you can still focus on your surgery. You want to keep cutting humans. Leave them. Let them be cutting clothes for you. You know. So you can actually, yes, you can juggle more than one thing. Yeah, you can.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, Ma. So from the audience, do you have anyone that has a question?
Thank you. Not a question as such. I just wanted to contribute to the issue of entrepreneurship. You've spoken virtually everything, but I felt that the area of wide consultation is important. Wide consultation. I'll give you an example. You know, now that I'm retired, and Ogun State has decided that pensioners have to wait for 2 years before they can get anything. As a matter of fact, somebody even sent me a note, said, I should know, nobody should misinform you. You don't have pension, you don't have gratuity. I just closed the topic there, and somebody said, but you should have responded and find out. I said, no, I don't discuss with fools. Is the one that will work for 40 years and will not have pension, will not have gratuity. So what is the point in discussing with such a human being? So I just closed that topic. Now coming to, looking at, okay, we have one compound beside us, about 2 plots of land. You know, I'm a pediatric nutritionist. And that land, I've been using 60, 75,000 naira every time to clear the land. Just clear the land and it's there. It's bushy again, you clear the land. Then I thought, okay, this land is here. What can I do with it? Okay, maybe we can do plantation. What did I do? I went for a consultant. Because it's not my area. Okay, you want to start any business, consult, ask the right questions. I could have gone in and said, and unfortunately, even on the land, there are some plantains, stumps there. No, I went in to call for a consultant. Incidentally, the consultant is also a medical doctor. But you see him with acres of plantain. So I've seen it on Facebook before. So I reached out to him. I said, okay, I need this. And, he spoke to me. He educated me, enlightened me on what I want to do, and the various steps that has to be taken before I can start that project. So he brought in his people and, was also going to go and consult. So that is the area of ask questions. Don't just assume that, is it just this? Then the next thing, I shared that view, that vision with my children. And one of them said, you want to do planting there? We can also do snailry now. I said, come to think of it. Snails will like a place that is cool. So if you have plantain around the place, it will be a good place. So what am I going to do? I started asking. I got a consultant again to take me through how to put up a snailry. So even if at the end of the day, I'm going to spend money, but I'm confident that I'm properly guided. Like this kind of meeting that we have, you are getting some guidance. You may not answer all the questions that are on your mind, but the thing is that everything that we want to do, ask. Don't just do a blunderbuss thing. So if you see the guy came in with about 300 stumps of plantain, and they said they had to treat the ground. I would never have thought of a thing like that. It's not just to go lot of things like, no, oh yeah, if it's left. No, you don't do things like that. You must consult. All right? You consult physically, and then you also talk to God for proper guidance. Then the other one also on entrepreneurship, we've mentioned that, the use of the social media. Just about 2 or 3 days ago, I registered for AI because that is where the world is going to. I paid 65,000, yes, to register for training on AI. Okay, so for the youths, for everybody, everybody must get involved with AI. It's not going to take the place of anything, but it's going to complement whatever we are doing. All right? I was supposed to give a talk somewhere, and within 2 hours, it was going to be a 1 hour talk. Within 2 hours, I've used AI to get what I want to get. All I just needed to do now is now to fleshing it up. It's not as if I'm totally ignorant of what I want to say. But those days that you'll be looking here, looking there for all this, you have everything together. And then you can now begin to fleshing up what we want to do. So I'm encouraging everybody to get involved. AI and agric, that is where we are going now. And I think everybody should piggyback on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We just heard from the CEO of Rushaway Farms PLC. So please, let's celebrate Grace. So before those questions are being asked, I just want to ask Ms. Fumi. There is something going on now, and if you go to school, even from secondary school, higher institution, students are not as interested in studies as before. If you go on Twitter, the next thing they will say is, how much will degree give me? I beg, collect my degree. All the money my father they send me to school, make it give me. So, how relevant do you think degree is, especially if you know you are going into entrepreneurship? How relevant do you think school degree is for you as an entrepreneur? And what do you think you should do when you know that you are going for entrepreneurship, and probably you are being forced to, after BSc, do masters, do PhD, but you know it's not your thing. So how relevant is degree in entrepreneurship when you know that that's where you are going?
Degree is very, very, see that very, stretch it. Very, 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 very important. And I'll forever be grateful to my dad for not giving me that money then, even though maybe a part of me wished that. Maybe I'd have built an empire for him now, I'm still grateful that he insisted that school, they will talk about business, So it's important because at the end of the day, you must be able to measure up to, I'm a businesswoman, but I can still stand where my colleagues that are doctors are. She gets, we can still, they can't stand beside me and I'll feel inferior. You're blossoming in your field. I'm also blossoming in my field. Because I'm not using syringe does not make, do you understand where I'm coming from? Or maybe a colleague of mine that is a lawyer. So yes, it is very, and this is to the younger ones. There are a lot of distractions right now. A whole lot. A lot of distractions. Your colleagues, maybe some even have phones already that will now start saying, they saw this online, they saw this online. Do not get distracted, please. At least we have practical examples in church. Our mommies here. Our mommies and daddies are also in the church. There are people that you can sense, this person has walked this path. If this person walks this path, then I can also do it. So please, don't joke with your academics. So, mommy did not become a doctor overnight. You hear that she has practiced for 34 years. She didn't become a doctor overnight. She's not looking this sweet at her age overnight. Do you get? So please, don't joke with your academics. Thank you.
So, in line with that question, I'm sure there are some people in this auditorium that even, should I say, with the degree that we have, we don't still know what we want to do. Like we still, should I say, we have magnitude, but we don't have direction. Okay, I want to be a pharmacist. Me personally, I'm saying for me now, I want to be a pharmacist because my daddy likes the course. I didn't have anything to do, even as at SS2. I knew I was not going to be a doctor, but I didn't particularly have anything else to do. And my dad was like, okay, well, she pharmacy now. It's a nice course. But I'm a pension, that's the plan, to use this pension to open community pharmacy. But then I still see my mates in school that like already know what they want to do. Like as at 200 level, I want to go to academia. I'm very sure there are some people that are here that okay, we are where we are, yes, but we still don't know where exactly what exactly we want to do. And even some people that they've not even probably chosen any course, they are still in secondary school that their parents are saying English engineering, but it's not really what they want to do. How can we navigate that? Like, what advice can you give us regarding that?
Thank you very much. Now, for those who are already in the university and they are there already, like what you mentioned, they don't know what they want to do. I always talk about moonlighting, all right? When, we talked about period of internship, either for nurses too now, those who have bachelors also have internship, doctors have internship, pharmacists have internship. I think HIM2 would also have internship. So your internship period usually will be the time, because it's mandatory anyway. It's not whether you want to do it or you don't want to do it, it's mandatory. So it will be a time for you to look around and see, what exactly you want to go into. Some either because of role models, in particular, some people will set out to, they say, oh, yes, they like pediatrics, they want to do pediatrics, but after trying to set a line for 2 hours, not getting it through, they say, no, this one is not for me. Or they look at the pass list, they say, this department where nobody they pass, no, it's not for me, and so on. Some people cannot even withstand the cries of babies, okay? But or some, you just look at it and feel that, okay, I like a particular consultant or a particular doctor. There'll be so many things that will eventually determine the route to take. Also, like you said, some people have everything made up for them, but it's difficult to live somebody else's dream. We talked about community pharmacy. That is somebody that after finishing now open up. Some people don't want it. I have a friend. She has four boys, and all of them. The father is a professor of obstetrics. The mother is a professor of radiology. Okay, and they have all their sons, all the four. All of them are doctors. They have, areas for them where they could work. But one out of those four decided that he does not want to do anything. He wants to stay in academics, right? Whereas you have some others, about 2 of them are japa. But this one, he does not even want to japa. He wants to stay in academics. So sometimes parents can have ideas about what they want the children to do, but your own, your own your actualization, your interest, it has to be sustained, because whatever you decide to do is what we're going to do for life. We've talked about medical doctors, ending up cooking, selling clothes, selling cars, doing all sorts of things. Okay? But of course, they will still call them doctor. But they are much more interested, they are more comfortable with that area. So the period of moonlighting is going to help for such individuals to take a decision. And then a program like this should also be an eye-opener. I'm going to leave this copy with the church, and you can look through it. And of course, we have enough professionals in this church, fortunately, that you can go to and ask for guidance beyond what we are discussing this evening.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, so we just have one question. We have 3 questions. It's 2 directed to mommy, but it's the same 2 in 1. Then the one to Miss Fumi. Let me start from Fumi. Somebody asked this question. As startup, is losing money proper and part of the startup? What should one do after not gaining for first time? Gaining for should the person still continue losing?
No, you should not lose. You should not continue losing in business. there's every tendency you didn't do your calculations well, but business is meant to be profitable. If you buy biscuits for 2 naira, you should be able to sell it for 2 naira 50 kobo or 3 naira. So if you are losing, that means you are selling it for 1 naira 20 kobo or 1.9. Or you are eating your money. You are not able to separate my business money from wait till I go chop this afternoon like this. Let me quickly borrow money. Borrow money that you know you not return. So in order for you to sustain that kind of thing, separate your money. We have a lot of banks now, a lot of tech banks too that you don't even need to physically walk into the bank to get an account now. Create an account solely for your business and tell yourself that no matter what happens, come rain, come sunshine, I am not going to touch this money. If I'm going to have to touch that money, then it's going to be the profit on it. But the capital with which you are starting with, nothing touches it, no matter what. If you have to drink garri for that week, drink garri.
So just to add on to that, if one is in business and is losing, I will ascribe that to inappropriate planning. Inappropriate planning. Anybody that's going to start a business, number one, you have appropriate planning. Even for a time that I was selling African, what do you call it now? That thing that you share during Christmas, hampers. I was doing African hampers, where you have palm oil, gusi, all this pap, So I had in mind, we had a breakfast and we have a lunch or something as a pack. So what I did was to open an Excel sheet. So you have your Excel sheet where you look at how much is this going to cost, how much is this going to cost, and then you put what is the profit, including my own salary on it. That is the way to plan. So you have your profit, you have your salary that you're going to take from it, on it. So you have that Excel sheet. So if you have done that, and of course that also came from my interaction with my son, who is a finance investment person. So they gave me that guide. That is how to go. See, talking about consultation. You consult. So there's no reason why anybody will lose on a good business that is well planned. Also, for instance, situations where you want to start a clinic, you should not expect returns in the next 6 months. If you want to start that business, don't expect that there's going to be any returns in the first 6 months. So before you go into that business, you must have planned how you're going to survive in the first 6 months of that business. Your rent, your overhead, blah, blah, blah. You must have catered for all those ones for the first 6 months. So even if you have your profit, you have your salary, you reinvest all those things into the business, and that's how the business is going to go. I'm not so much of an entrepreneur, but I think I have some.
Thank you, Ma. So the other question is about the paths that I said we can pursue even after our degree. So this person is asking that. He said, the first one says, you said something about pharmacology students taking some courses to add to their certificate quality. Can you help us explain better? Then the second one says, you said one can take a master in public health courses. What does that make the person after?
Well, for pharmacology, for instance, and all these other basic medical sciences, I've mentioned some universities that they take non-medical practitioners for masters in public health. And with that, they can go in as either medical delegates, they can work in pharmaceutical industries, they can work in food industries, and so on and so forth. And also, we also have them in NGOs. We have them even working with United Nations organizations, all right, in different areas, as policy. Because with public health, we have different areas, talk about policy, talks about epidemiology and so on. So you can actually go into policy, for instance. So when they are talking, for instance, in places when we had GSK, we had a lot of pharmacologists with MPH, in anywhere they are talking about drugs, drug companies and so on. So they fit in very well into that space. What was the other question?
What would having a master's degree in public health, what would that make you?
It will make you a public health specialist. It will make you a public health specialist, and you'll be able to function in all those areas that I've highlighted for public health specialists. You can work in the federal, in the state hospitals, in primary healthcare development agencies. You can work in NGOs. You can work with United Nations. You can work in, it's quite wide. It's quite a big field to work in. But aside from MPH, there are some other certificate programs. I forgot to mention that. Everybody will come up with BSc something. But those certificates, $5 certificates, $10 certificates, they go a long way. So if you see them online, you can go in. Some may be for 4 hours, some may be for 6 hours, and so on. Go in for those, because those ones are additional things that will have, apart from the BSc that everybody else has.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. It's a round of applause for Professor.
No, that this one, I just want to deprive myself of update on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm going to use it to buy a course.
All right, so we are coming to the end. So we are coming to the end of the panel talk with.
Oh,
Yes, I have a contribution. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate everything that has been said. I just have an addition, and that is about the question she asked on some of us don't know what we are supposed to do. As Christians, even though we have to ask questions, but there's a lot that God knows about the future that if we rest only on what we can find out from men, that should only help us to clarify some of the inward directions we are having. And I will give some examples from my own experience. When I was in the secondary school, physics was I was so glaringly engineering to everybody.